Welcome to Live at 5:55 with Joseph. Hope you have an awesome day today. I know I did. I just want to really get into some really in-depth stuff tonight. And I want to talk about insanity. How much of your life do you spend in insanity? And Albert Einstein said he defined insanity as doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So I just wanted to explore some of that tonight. Is how often, maybe it's your self-talk. How often do you find yourself talking negatively about yourself? And you know that that's damaging for you to do so. Or what about your thinking? How often do you grab hold of those negative self-thoughts, those limiting thoughts that tell you what you can't do, or why you haven't done it in the past, or where you come from, or what's in your bank account, or your education, and use that to limit you, even though we know differently, even though we know that leaning into those creates more of it. Where we put our energy is where we're placing where we're creating in our life. The things you say and do and think today create your tomorrow. So when we think about that, when I originally think about that and the word insanity, I think I'm not insane. But then I think about how many years in my life I would get into negative thinking. How many years in my life I would get into feeling limited and like I didn't have enough money, and I would live that way, and I would use the words that state the same thing, and I would continue to experience that over and over and over and over. And the more I leaned into it, the more of it I experienced. So where it may have started out with I didn't have money to go on the trips I wanted to go on, eventually it would get to the point of I didn't have money to pay my bills, and I didn't have money to get the groceries, and I didn't, and it got worse and worse and worse along those lines. And the reason being is because I kept living into that and leaning into that insanity of my thoughts and the insanity of my self-talk. So let me ask you this. Do you enjoy your job? Do you really get creativity and fulfillment out of your job? Because so often I talk to people that go to work to a job that they can't stand. And it's because they have themselves convinced that they can't do any better than that. Now, we are so powerful. Just the thought of can't have better than that is an insane thought. That's insanity at work. For a long time in my life, I continue to repeat the almost exact same types of relationships, the love relationships in my life. It wasn't until I've talked about that on live before. It wasn't until I got to the point of going, my vision is way up here and I'm not lowering it any freaking more in my life, that somebody came along that matched it up at that level. But before then, whenever somebody'd come along and I'd go, well, they don't that, and they don't have that, and they're not like that, and I'd end up with my vision down here somewhere, and then it would make sense to start the relationship, and it would never work. It can't work because my vision is way up here and I'm trying to live down at this level here. There's nothing wrong with the other person, but it's just not meant for me. We're not meant for each other. When we do things like that over and over, there's a level of insanity in that. When you get up in the morning, the initial thoughts that you grab hold of are either thoughts of growth, expansion, what you want to have your attention on, because where you put your intention is where you place your attention is where you're putting your intention for that day. And the way you wake up in the morning, if you're leaning into what you want to be that day, what you would love to experience in that day, that's one thing. If you're waking up already trudging the road ahead of you for the day and you're already tired and exhausted before you even get out of bed, there's something insane about living that way, and you don't have to. I'm so passionate about this because I come across so many people who are living in this life as prisoners, and they're only prisoners of their own thoughts and their own words. They're only prisoners of the area that they're choosing, whether they realize it or not, of where they're choosing to place their intention or their attention in their life. And you can change that so quick. You can shift that and get into that other side of living in that sanity, of living in that joy, of living in that fulfillment in all areas of your life. And if you ever want help in doing so, I told you, you can reach out to me and I'll offer you a complimentary 45-minute telephone session, and we'll get on there and we'll talk about what's possible for you. And we'll talk about some tools to help you start making those shifts in your life. But living unhappy, living unfulfilled, living in misery, living like you're a victim or a prisoner is a choice. And there is insanity in that choice when there is so much more available to you. So one of the things coming up, I'm excited to share this with you, is next November 2nd, Monday through November 5th, Thursday, is the next Abundance Mindset Masterclass. It starts next week. We opened up registration today. It's going to be all 4 days. It'll be at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to dive right in. Right from day one, we're going to talk about that abundant thinking and acting, that mindset of abundance and shifting that. On November 3rd, we're going to talk about dynamic visioning, creating dynamic visions for your life. Instead of living mediocre, there's so much more available to you. And I want to help you open that doorway up. And on day 3, we're going to talk about those pesky paradigms that keep us trapped and keep us thinking limited and keep us living small, and how we can shift those and open that up. And then on Thursday, the 4th, November 5th, is we're going to go into what I'm calling top secret, but it's going to have the tools in there of pulling all 3 days together and allowing you to step forward from that masterclass with changes, with things you can do to change your life, things you can do to live in that passion of what it is you want to be, do, have, give, create, and experience. I put in the post tonight the website to register. It's ifgtcoach.com/abundance-mindset. And you can go there, you click on it, there's a couple information pieces you hit on, or you fill out, and you just click to register. You'll get an email within a few minutes of there that you can join the group where we're going to host it. And you can also download your free workbook that goes along with the 4 days. I'm doing this. I do this. This will be probably the last time I'll do this at no charge. And I do these master classes as a way of helping people open up those avenues to truly living their life in passion. My whole purpose in my life is to inspire, motivate, and lead people to living better lives. And this is how I do that. After this month, any masterclass we do will have a fee for registration attached to it. So if you've even thought, if you've had a hair of an idea that you want to go through this experience, this is the one to do it on. And you can go ahead, like I said, register. There's no cost for this one. You get to join the group. You get the free workbook that's associated with it. And you get the power of all 4 days from somebody who's been doing this with studying it and teaching it and assisting people in living better lives for decades. So go ahead and click on that link. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and God bless.